dog, you know, he got out the notion of ever dying at all, darling. That old captain had one glass eye, darling. That old captain had one glass eye, darling. He walk away and leave his eye on a rock. Glass eye will watch me until 6 o'clock, darling. Thank you. That's one of those one-upsmanship songs where everybody had a captain who was meaner than the next captain. You'd say, oh, my captain was so mean. And somebody else would come up with a song and say, oh, yes, my captain was the meanest. So you hear a lot of my old captain songs. And some of the words to the songs, there was a song that from that era, and I remember hearing a Johnny Taylor song and hearing him still singing some of the lyrics that were from these old 100-year-old songs. It's just a way of saying something. I think there was a song that said, if you don't believe I'm leaving, count the days I'm gone. And Johnny Taylor was singing a song like that. And you know, that was one of the songs from 100 years ago that people were, you know, they trying to explain it different. Everybody had a way of explaining it, and that was where the language came in. Like Muddy Waters had a line where he said something, my woman left me and left me all, my woman ran out with the garbage man and left me all alone. I wish you'd come back because my trash is overflowing. So everybody had a way of, you know, if you could sing better, you know. Let me do a spiritual for you. These were the songs that were collected around, you know, the Civil War. They were written down. They were part of something called the Mission Project. United States Department of Treasury actually sent people down to the Carolinas because all the plantation owners left, and they left the largest crops that had ever been planted. It's going to be a great year when the Civil War broke out. Well, they all left. So they sent treasury agents down there to harvest. And they actually hired slaves. They paid them to do the work. They actually were going to, they had 3 experiments. They were going to, you know, pay them. They were going to turn some of them into soldiers. And they were going to, you know, school them. They opened schools. So they sent teachers down there. And the teachers began writing down the songs. And, you know, it's kind of funny how my mind works. You know, sometimes I say my mind is a giant Walmart parking lot with cars in it, and I know that car is there. I may not know where I parked it, but that car is there. Because when these 2 pieces of information come, like I was watching the History Detectives once, and one of the guys told a story about how a slave ship came into the United States in like 18, you know, way long after, you know, they weren't supposed to be here, you know, maybe 1850, you know, 18 something like that. And you know, it had been documented. I think it was called the Wanderer, a slave ship called the Wanderer. Well, when they were signing up slaves to fight in the Civil War, some of them were 12 and 13 years old and could not speak English. They only spoke African languages. So I'm thinking, you know, 1850, 1860, you know, they still had not been in the country long enough to even speak English. They were too young, and that's what they said. These young men were too young to fight in the Civil War. These slaves were still Africans. They had not been acclimated. So those 2 pieces of information, you know, that we have documented, you know, one's written down here in the 1860s, and then here's another one from like, you know, maybe 10 years ago. This ship, the Wanderer. It makes me think, well, maybe that's why the music in the South still has strong African elements, because the elements were still being brought in, you know, at that late date. I'll do a spiritual. I'll do a new one for you. This is one. I was reading about a man named Daniel Fisher, and this is the most fun for me to learn a new song, or a song everybody knows. It's called Deep River, and I just started working on this song because I was reading about a Underground Railroad story about a man named Daniel Fisher, and he was about maybe 20 or 30 in 1830, and in his little autobiography he wrote, "When I got to Deep River, I was so weary." And I thought, well, there's a song called Deep River. And it was collected in North Carolina, or South Carolina, where he was from. some 30 years later, 40 years later, I wondered if that was the deep river that he was singing about, everybody was been singing about. Paul Robeson is known for this song, Deep River. It's one of his, you see it in movies sometimes, he'll sing Deep River. And Daniel Fisher was told that you're going to get to Deep River, Connecticut, and you're going to look for a man named Judge Warner, and Judge Warner is going to set you up with a job, but you're going to change your name. Your name is going to be William Winters, and you're going to have to wear a wig everywhere you go. And I'm sure Daniel was so weary, he said, that's fine by me. I don't care. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, I want to cross over into campground. Don't you want to go to that gospel feast? Don't you want to go where everything is peace? Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, I want to cross over into campground. I want to cross over. Do you cross over into campground? Don't you want to go to that gospel feast? Don't you want to go where everything is peace? Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Jordan's river is chilly and cold, hallelujah. Jordan's river is chilly and cold, hallelujah. But that water will warm your soul, hallelujah. Yes, that water will warm your soul, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Oh, that river is deep and wide, hallelujah. Oh, that river is deep and wide, hallelujah. But my mother's on the other side, hallelujah. Oh, my mother's on the other side, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, that boat ashore. Michael Rowe, that boat ashore, hallelujah, hallelujah. Michael Rowe, that boat ashore. Brother, won't you lend a hand? Hallelujah. Brother, won't you lend a hand? Hallelujah. Sister will do the best she can. Hallelujah. Sister sister will do the best she can. Hallelujah. Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, Michael Rowe, go to show. Hallelujah. Michael Rowe, the border show. Hallelujah. Michael Rowe, that border show. Michael Rowe, that border show. Thank you. I do a song that came out of the rent parties in Harlem. And these go back to when you couldn't pay your rent, you know, your landlord wasn't going to take the $10 if you had a $50 rent due. But you'd gather up some money and you could hire a piano player like George or Tom Dorsey. He'd play for maybe $8 all night long. And you'd sell little tickets. And I've seen some of these little tickets, they're like 25 cents a piece. And you'd sell them out on the street and you'd make $50. Now you had to feed people. And you couldn't get away with chips and cookies at your party in them days. No, you had to have fried chicken and cornbread and greens and all that good stuff. If they're gonna pay 25 cents, you know, they want some real food. Well, this is a song George and Tom Dorsey would play at those rent parties. Mandy Lee Jones like to party at night. You know she don't come home till it's broad daylight. You know it's tight like that. Yes, it's tight like that. Hear me talking to you. Oh, you know it's tight like that. She don't go to single parties at one time. She go to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 because they tight like that. Yes, they tight like that. Hear me talking to you. Oh, you know they tight like that. Yes, 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 they tight like that. Hear me talking to you. Oh, you know they tight like that. The rent parties in Harlem, up and down the street. You never know the kind of people you gonna meet because they tight. Yeah, they tight. Yeah, they tight. Oh, they tight. Yeah, they tight like that. You might meet the governor, king or queen, cabbies and the doorman, the hustlers and the thief, because they tight like that. Yes, they tight like that. Yes, they tight like that. Yes, they tight like that. Hear me talking to you. Oh, you know they tight like that. Hear me talking to you. Oh, you know they tight like that. Yes, they tight like that. Tight like that. Thank you. Well, see, I got one more song for you. I'm gonna do a song called One Meatball. This is a song that kind of ended the Harlem Renaissance, you know. As lovely as it all was, the literati and the fancy parties, you know, and that song was really right, you know. Sometimes, you know, Ravel would show up and he'd sit around the party and talk to Duke Ellington, or sometimes Bessie Smith, the famous blues singer, would be there. There was once a Spanish opera singer showed up and she wanted to meet Bessie Smith.